Welcome to Ellie Goldsmith's Relationship Flow. We're going to talk about boundaries, and that would be the opportunity to become limitless. It's a very important concept wherever stage you're at. And the quote that I'm getting inspiration from is from Mordechai Weinberger. Martin Weinberger, he's a LCSW, a very good friend of mine, and we met online. Still yet to meet in person, but I feel like we're good friends because we've been on a journey for many years and spoken online and the radio and other things. And he's always been there for me, and I try to be there for him. And he wrote, "When you see boundaries as opportunities, the world becomes a limitless place." This is from one of his MW motivation tweets. When you see boundaries as opportunities, the world becomes a limitless place. And I think that is the key to when you finish off a time like Shovavim, you climax. We'll be just with Nissan Black and his family and the Brown family. Yosef Brown, he's the producer for Nissan Black. And obviously with my family, the Goldsmith family, we're all together this Shabbos. And we spoke in front of yeshiva called Yeshivat Ashreinu. It was a beautiful campus in Beit Shemesh. And the concept is that we really need to know how to find that inner spark of inspiration, but at the same time, as much as that relationship is crucial, but also put the boundaries that the relationship should be in the right time, right place, and be protected. So that's why it's relevant for anybody and everybody. As Gedalia Fence is talking to hundreds, maybe even thousands of people, even sent me some people personally, and the idea of being able to work on those boundaries before getting married is the key to real good marriage, because eventually whatever a person does, it's going to catch up on them. And the world out there is generally very promiscuous, and it's a lot of temptation and desire, and it's all set up in the highest levels to get your attention in things that you shouldn't be. And the concept is why. I mean, even if you're not religious or not spiritual, seemingly, or whatever, however you label yourself, the point is that every single person, when you go out on dates or when you meet looking for that soulmate, or you even have the soulmate, thank God, which is where, I'm holding, and, the blacks and the browns, and, we're very blessed. We all got connected to our soulmate at a young age, and we're already building families, thank God. When you're in that stage, whatever it is, people who are marrying, making weddings already, and that's something which we're having to think about soon, and it's a big thing, that transition from all the way from just being a kid and thinking it's just about pleasure and fun and what you see, what you get kind of thing, but then you start to realize there's a whole world of relationships and boundaries and development. And what you understand is, just like with Shovavim, which we just went through, we go through these 6 weeks of purification and leaving Egypt, leaving Mitzrayim, leaving our restraints and going to a place of endless possibilities. You realize that the key is now where to put all that inspiration, and to put that inspiration into the Mishkan. That's this week's Parsha Truma. That's the idea that we build a Der Tachtona, we build a home in this world. And that has to be the goal. So when a person gets inspired by someone's beauty or by someone's personality, it's about putting it into the right place in the right time. Everything is a microcosm of the macrocosm of the larger story. So when you have a place like the aspect of a man and woman connecting, it's a very spiritual concept, and it has hints in a real way in the Mishkan, in the little temple that that went with us in the desert, and eventually became the first base of English, the first temple, the second temple, and hopefully soon the third temple. But those vessels, those places of worship for us is a very intimate experience, and that's directly connected to the intimacy between a man and woman. And there is the idea of the kruvim, and there's these beautiful faces of purity facing each other, and that's the ideal way of connecting in a very intense, deep way, in an intimate way. The ponim, that should be this moment of connection, like the idea even when learning with someone, or a chavrusa, or a rabbi, or a teacher, a spiritual guide, you sit with them face to face and you really connect in a deep way, and that gives you the power to really develop that relationship that's ultimately eternal. And that's the idea, that once you've had that inspiration, you've done the hard work of somewhat creating boundaries around yourself as best you can, and somewhat going into like a spiritual quarantine. Right now there's this whole corona thing. All these people are unfortunately in quarantine, serious stuff. We want to be in quarantine on a spiritual level, so we don't have to go through it on these horrible things, and that we're protecting ourselves from the virus, not the viruses, the negativity that exists by taking that energy, that inspiration, that seed, and spilling it into places we shouldn't. It only has a place, that inspiration, for the right connection, for that responsible connection that gives us responsibility. That's the real key. I was speaking to Nissan Black about it, the Shabbos, that once we're really committed to being responsible for one person, for one soulmate, and to dedicate all our energy towards that one person. That's one of the foundations of shalom bayis, of relationships, and it should begin before even marriage, because you have to have that mindset on some level to have that divine assistance to find that person. I mean, a lot of people who are meritorious without spirituality and a seemingly open level to find their soulmate and to find someone they can be married to forever. And the Midnightrabbi explains that that's something which is a real chesed Hashem. That's something which is a real kindness from the higher worlds, that people are meritorious even when they're not aware. They don't even have the mindfulness, intentionality, and they end up with these amazing relationships. And that's something which is a big blessing, and people should realize what they have is such a blessing, because honestly they weren't even aware what maybe on some value system or some sort of more intellectual level they were aware, but not on the spiritual level. They didn't really know how important it is what they did, but they managed to find that soulmate and commit and be responsible and giving and caring. I would say, like my parents, for example, they're not religious at all, but they knew that there was, these kind of value system and from their parents, and it was passed down, and it was just obvious. So once you put the spirituality insert it, and you realize that these 6 weeks were building up to the 7th climax of Truma, where you now have a Dira Tachtoni, you have a dwelling place in the world for the Shekhinah, and that's really like everybody's home, everyone's bed, everyone's table, everyone's menorah, their candles. It's like connected all to the temple, and the table has the bread on it, and the bed, it's a Kodesh Kadoshim, and every place has its with the kruvim and where the whole place where you can bring down the shamas and souls and elevate this world into a spiritual place. So when you start to understand that every home is really built on that format, that it's a mikdash ma'at, it's a tiny small temple, and everybody can build that in his own way, obviously with his own energy and artistic creativity and way of communication. But that comes those boundaries that we're talking about. That's the boundaries of the Mishkan, of the temple. There was walls, there was curtains, there had to be set up in a specific way, that there's specific rules and ways and times for everything, and even intentions for everything, how to bring those those offerings that going beyond yourself, that which is like the idea of a korban, of bringing an animal. This really is taking the animal spirit of a person and the self-sacrifice that a person goes through in marriage to really become a more godly person and bring that dwelling into the world. So you start to realize that really your home and your relationships are in the model of this spiritual temple dimension, and really it's a place of worship. Every person's home can be that, and that was really the ultimate goal of Vishkanti B'Socham, that every person's heart and each person themselves can have with Kodesh Kadoshim, their brain and their heart and their being is also in the model of this, is a microcosm of this ultimate temple place of worship. So really everyone's walking around in this world in the divine image on a certain level is like a walking Mishkan, is a walking temple, and has the power to bring down the Shekhinah, to bring down with joy and self-sacrifice and all these ideals. But once again, it comes together with the boundaries that we built during these 6 weeks. So we're now climaxing with the 7th week, and we're becoming limitless. We're getting involved in a place of godliness and spirituality. Once you understand what it's like to connect to your soulmate, once you've created all the boundaries and done all the work to make that reality, and you connect on an intimate level, it's limitless. You go to this place which is beyond, a place of soul connection, of oneness, of unity, and that is one of the most pleasurable things a person can experience in this world when it comes with love and dedication and all the good things. And that's a goal that's worth fighting for. It's worth all the self-sacrifice. It's worth everything. So I just, ending off today's podcast, I think it's like a little bit longer than usual, but the point is the relationship flow. It's there, that it's about that limitless place that you can create in your home, in your heart, between your soulmate, and even before marriage, everyone can head towards in that direction. And I'm looking forward to hearing good news for all of us. We should all have that spiritual quarantine, which should be healthy and well, and please God, we should see the dwelling of the ultimate divine presence in this world in a revealed way. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and looking forward to speak again next week.